me and you. See, this is the veteran here. I don't have to tell her. It'll be you and I. So we have to tell everybody else, don't look at the camera.
No, no, don't look at the
but,
camera.
But we know that you're ready. Okay. You get what I'm saying?
Yep,
Okay. You gonna keep the lights on? Okay. So introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Lily, Reverend Lilly, Kate Benitez. And I'm a resident of Georgia, Atlanta. I was born here, raised here, educated here, married here, and had my children here. So I'm definitely an Atlantean at any rate. When I was in college, when the civil rights movement started in 1960, I was a Spelmanite. And Lonnie King uh, gathered a lot of us together on Clark's campus, and he would give us directions on what to do, and we got all of our instructions from him. And then we would march from Clark to Morehouse and on to Morris Brown, and from there we went downtown to Pickett. And there were several groups. We were in groups. Some went to Pickett in front of Rich's department store, some in front of Kessler's department store. There was another store. I forget the name of it. But we knew, we had our instructions, we knew what to do, and the main thing was to be nonviolent. No matter what happened, or no matter what anybody did or said, you were to just march and hold your signs, and that was it. I remember a particular incident. I was marching with a group, and these white boys came up, and they jumped out of the car, and they just proceeded to go down the line spitting at us. And I remember that, of course, we couldn't do anything. And well, that was a horrible experience to have somebody do that. I did not go to Alabama with there was a group that went to Birmingham, and but I wasn't in that group because we were asked, do you mind being arrested? If you don't want to be arrested, then let us know now. And so I was in that group that I couldn't be arrested because my mother said, I know what you're trying to do and I'm for what you're trying to do, but one thing I ask you not to do, and that is to get arrested. She said, I think I would just keel over and die if they told me you were in jail. So I said, well, I'll get in that group. I'm not going to be arrested. So, but everybody knew what their instructions were, and we went according to what we were told to do. And it was some people that pulled out because they couldn't take the pressure, but most of us stayed.
So tell me about Riches and this Christmas Gift Freedom and the campaign and the rallying and marching there.
Well, the thing about it is, at first, I don't think Rich's department store thought too much of it. But then when the people started closing out their accounts right at Christmas time, that made a big difference, because we hit their pocketbook. So then they realized that the picketing really meant something, and it was effective.
Were you able to go into the lunch counter and have tea, or to the Magnolia Room and have tea?
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Like I said, I just did the picketing outside. No, I never went to the lunch counter. Some of them did, and it was a horrible experience.
So let's talk about being a freedom rider.
Mm-hmm. Well, I look at freedom riders. Anybody that did anything during the civil rights movement was a freedom rider. Whether you rode on a bus or you picketed or you made signs, or you answered the phone. You were a freedom rider. You were fighting for the rights of black people to get their civil rights. So um, I did not, I wasn't on that bus that caught a fire. No. Um, but I feel like that anybody and a lot of people did things that nobody ever knew anything about. And that's why we are developing this program, Unsung Heroes and Heroines, because there were so many people that were a part and who participated, volunteered their time and their energies to the civil rights movement. But I consider um, a freedom rider is someone who is dedicated to the cause and who will do whatever they can, whether it be using their energies or their time or their money, whatever they can contribute. They are a freedom rider.
Absolutely. You want me to hold your glasses or you want
No, I'm okay. Mm-hmm.
to? War Memorial, I understand that War Memorial was supportive of the students and allowed for meetings and rallies there at the church.
Oh, yes, with Reverend Boone. Oh, he was terrific minister and civil rights fighter and community activist. I can't think of all of the words for him because he was every man's minister. I'll say it like that. You could walk up to him and talk to him about anything. You know, he was down to earth. You didn't look at him as a minister, you looked at him as a friend. Yes, we had many meetings at his church.
And Rush Memorial,
Rush Memorial, yes.
had meetings at Rush Memorial.
Most of the churches, open their doors for us to have meetings. Anytime that we needed a place, that was the place. The main place was the churches.
Okay. The quadrangle. Talk about the quadrangle.
You mean the colleges where we assemble? What do you want to know about it? I can say this. I was a student, and I remember that whenever they had a meeting, somebody would go up to one of the classes and say, hey, we're having a meeting out here with Lonnie King, and everybody would just get up and walk out of the class. But we weren't punished. We were not punished for doing that. But anytime that there was a rally or a meeting during the day, when there were classes, we would just leave the class and go to see what instructions we had.
All right, that's perfect.
I was saying, I think we need
Oh, okay, the glasses. I gotta take the glasses.
Okay, 'cause
I'm gonna put them right here.
You hear the sound
probably-
clicking together. Okay.
glasses. No problem.
Uh
Thank you, ma'am.
huh. Okay.
So I understand you're a poet.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm a third generation, second generation. My mother was a poet. I'm a poet. My daughter is a poet, right? And I wrote this poem. It was a prediction in '67 of Dr. King's assassination. When you read the poem, you don't, right away, that's what you think about. It just talks about marching and mourning, marching and mourning. And when I wrote the poem, in the back of my mind, I knew what it was saying, but I didn't want to accept it. And that poem has become famous. It's been published in magazines. In fact, it's been published in a book of poems of several poets. And I feel real honored to be included in that group. It was a book by Stephen Henderson. and he collected what he thought was the best black poets of the 20th century, and I was one of them. So I feel real honored that he selected one of my poems, which was the one that we're speaking about now. It's called Sectional Touchstone. And that poem was also published in the newspaper called The Great Speckled Bird, which it no longer exists. You remember that? It was like an underground newspaper, and they published it. And when they published it, I did not know. I don't know who submitted the poem, but at that time during the Civil Rights Movement, there was a young lady by the name of Bernice Reagan, and she was a folk singer. And when she sang, she opened her mouth real wide, and they drew a picture, a sketch of her singing over the poem. It's beautiful the way they did it. I still don't know who submitted the poem, but I'm glad they did because it turned out to be a beautiful example. So I have a book of poems that I have published, and my work has been published in Mount Holyoke College and, of course, Spelman. But yes, I'm an award-winning poet. I've won several awards for my work. I have a poem that I won first prize from the Reader's Digest poetry competition. Yes.
And so the Atlanta Inquirer, you would write sometimes for the Atlanta Inquirer. So let's talk about the Atlanta Inquirer.
Well, the Atlanta Inquirer, anything that I did, the editor will hear about it and ask me to tell me about what you're doing, because I was always doing something. So they will write articles, about the things that I was participating in. And that's about it, with me and the Inquirer. I have articles, of things that they wrote about me.
Okay. So if you had to sum up the Atlanta student movement and its impact on the world today, then and today, what would you say?
I think that was a magnificent movement. I think it changed the lives of people that were participated at that time, and also the people that came after the younger generation. But today, it's like it's dead. I mean, it was like something that happened and just died out, and nobody kept the spark going. And some friends of mine and I have decided that we're going to develop an organization called Unsung Heroes and Heroines, people who were in the movement who did a lot and nobody had never heard of them before and don't know anything about what they did or what they contributed. But I think that the movement changed the world, and we, in my opinion, right now, I think we are backing up. I think we are going back over troubled ground. And I say that, meaning several things. I have many reasons for saying that. But I think that another movement has to come forth, Maybe not in the way that the movement in 1960, but certainly a movement.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I'm very interested in getting to the young people of Atlanta, helping them to know what the civil rights movement was all about. Because right now, if you ask a kid, what do you know about the civil rights movement, they'll say nothing. Or they might say, Dr. King has a birthday. That's about all they can tell you. So I would like to, because I worked with kids so much in the past, I would like to go in, if necessary, go into the school system if they will allow me to talk to children about my experience, and also to let them know, that they got a kind of step it up. Now, when I was in high school, that was an organization that developed by attorney Leroy Johnson. Um, the he decided that the young people who were of age to register to vote, that we should do that, and we ended up developing this organization. And we were just kids, but we would go and knock on doors and asking people if they would go down and register to vote. And at that time, it was a powerful organization. It was a small group, but Dr. Attorney Leroy Johnson was adamant that we participate and that we do all that we could. And the people were real nice to us. You know, they accepted what we had to say, and they went and registered to vote. So I think that was like that was the beginning of an organization that just kind of slowly but surely faded out. And we were called the Junior Voters League. And some of us are still alive, but a lot of us have passed on. So a friend of mine and I decided that we want to try to start it up again with the young people in the high schools, and because it's a powerful vehicle.
We thank you for coming